Good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy Easter to anyone who's celebrating. I just put the playlist for this week right underneath this live video in the comments, and I also put it underneath the picture I posted yesterday, so if you'd like to listen along, you can go ahead and find that link and get that ready to go. Or you can put on anything else you'd like, or nothing at all, whatever your preference is. I like a little music with my practice. And we're going to get going in just about a minute. Good morning. Good morning. Say hi if you're here. Let me know that you're here, guys. Good morning, Karen. Happy to have you. We are going to start lying down on our backs in Shavasana. So once you are ready to go, you have your mat. If you have blocks that you use, have them close by. You don't really need them, but they're a great, just a great tool to help with your practice. Maybe some water. I have my water and my tea. So whatever serves you best, get everything ready and close. And then once you're all set to go, you can lie down on your back and you can find a nice comfortable variation of Shavasana. And we're going to get started in just a minute. So I thank you all for joining me, whether you're live here with me now on Sunday morning, or I know many of you will probably come back to this during the week due to the holiday. So either way, whatever day it is, thank you so much for joining me. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Erica. It is truly my honor and my pleasure to guide you through your weekly yoga practice. So thanks for joining me and welcome to everyone. If you're just logging on, we are going to start lying down on our backs. So go ahead and get comfortable in a nice variation, lying down. Take up as much space as you'd like. Maybe arms come out wide, maybe legs come out wide. Just listen to your body and honor kind of what it wants to do, where it wants to go. And I'll meet you there in just a moment. I'm going to start my music quietly in the background, so if you guys choose to listen to some music, you can go ahead and get that going. Good. Do whatever else you need to do so that once you start moving, or once you really, I should say, find that stillness to start before we start moving, you don't have any distractions. I know it's hard at home, but let's do our best to try to eliminate those distractions. So hopefully you are lying down on your back. You can float your eyes to close. You're nice and safe at home. So close your eyes and just start to settle in on your mat. Get nice and comfortable. And start by taking a few deep breaths. Nice full inhales and exhales. Nice and slowly. Good. Really try to control that exhale. Don't just let it all go. Sometimes we like to let it go and really release it, but for now, really try to control it and make it nice and slow and really let out all of that breath. And if you're someone who's looking for some calming this morning, maybe you've had a busy morning, maybe you know you have a busy day ahead of you, count your breath. Even if, whether you do it out loud or even if you do it in your head to yourself, and try to make that exhale longer than your inhale. So maybe if you breathe in for 4, try to exhale to 6 or to 8 even if you can. When you extend that exhale, it's really calming. It's good for anxiety, it's good for blood pressure, it's good for relaxation. So give that a couple rounds and see how you feel. And if that doesn't work for you, if you don't want to try that, natural breath is perfectly fine. Just make sure we're inhaling fully and exhaling completely, nice and slowly. And just focus on your breath, whatever type of breath you're taking. Good. And like I mentioned, today is Easter Sunday. It's also the end of Passover for anyone who celebrates. And I know that it's a busy and important time for many people. So with holidays, you might find yourself busier than usual, maybe preparing for some things, traditions, celebrations, family. Maybe you're fortunate to have a little bit of time off. Either way, I find that holidays often offer us a time to reflect. And I want you to take a moment just to do that. Bring something into your heart, something into your mind that you're grateful for, something that you love, something that makes you happy. And know that taking just a couple of moments out of your day every day to establish a gratitude practice has been scientifically proven to kind of rewire the brain and make you happier and healthier, right? And who wouldn't want to be happier and healthier? So I'm going to meet you lying down on your backs and just take a moment, like I said, bring something into your heart, into your mind that you're grateful for. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is. And let that be your focus. Let that kind of inspire you through your class today. I'm going to meet you lying down on my back. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to take a couple of breaths here with you. We're trying to find our center, some peace before we start moving. Feeling nice and grounded. Let's take about 2 more full breaths. And then if your legs are wide, bring them together to touch. Point the toes. Extend the arms overhead if you have the space. If you don't have space to extend fully, you can reach for opposite elbows. Suck in your belly. Point the toes. You feel a really nice long line of energy all the way from the fingertips to the toes in this full body stretch. Good. Start to wake up a little bit. Maybe you've been up for hours. Maybe you're literally just getting out of bed for this. And then let's hug both knees into the chest, wrapping the arms around the front of the legs. Good. Giving them a nice little squeeze toward the body. It's up to you whether you lift your head off of your mat or maybe you want to keep it connected for now. It is your practice. I am your guide. So just modify it, change it however you need to serve you and your body today. So right now we just have the knees hugged in toward the chest. Good. Give them a nice little squeeze. And then we're going to keep the legs bent and lower the soles of the feet to the mat. Top body can stay relaxed. Good. Maybe you just gently drop the knees side to side for a moment. Start to loosen up that lower back. Wake everything up here. Good. Coming back center. I want you just to hug your right knee into the chest. Good. Give it a nice little squeeze. Your range of motion might be a little bit greater with just one leg. Maybe point and flex the toes. Roll out the ankle on that right foot. And then keeping everything else exactly as it is, grounded to your mat. We're just going to straighten that right leg high to the sky. You can interlace your hands anywhere behind that right leg. So maybe they're behind the hamstring. Maybe they're a little bit higher up behind the calf, depending on your flexibility, your own range of motion, depending on so many other factors. And you're just using the hands to draw that leg a little bit closer to the body. It's early in the day. It's very early in our practice, so don't force anything. Just a nice gentle hamstring stretch. Again, you can continue pointing and flexing the toe, rolling out the ankle. We're going to be here for another couple of breaths. You can see if you're looking at the video that I do have a little bend in my right leg, which is perfectly fine. We don't need to lock that knee out, especially at this point in our practice. We're just kindly and gently waking everything up. Let's take one final breath here. And then we're going to bring a bend into that right leg. Cross that right ankle on top of your left knee. And I want you to bring your right hand to the inside of that right knee just to very gently open it up. So you're pushing that right knee away from the body so it's closer to being parallel with the foot. So we're opening the hip a little bit here. If you bring that left heel closer into the body, you'll feel a little bit of a deeper stretch here on the right side. Okay. And I'm going to give you a few options, but as always, just listen to your body. You can stay right here if you're getting a nice hip opener here on that right side. Okay, if you'd like to take it a little bit further, you can try lifting the left foot off the earth by interlacing the hands behind the left thigh, so behind the hamstring. So as you draw that left leg closer into the body, it's going to intensify that stretch on your right hip. Keep that right foot flexed. Good. You can keep the shoulders and head relaxed as well. Final option, if you choose to take it, and don't force it if your body's not ready for it yet, but if you want to try it, you can straighten that left leg and even lift the shoulders off the earth a little bit here for a few breaths. And if you try any of these advancements and they don't feel great for you, just go back to where you were previously. Good. Let's take one more full breath. Good. If you are up here with me, let's lower the left foot. Let's lower the shoulders and the head. Let's keep the cross of the legs. We're going to extend the arms out to the side. We're going to take a nice little twist here. So bringing the right foot to the earth, we're taking a spinal twist. So knees are dropping to the left. Gaze is coming off of that right arm. If you don't care for this variation of a spinal twist, you are welcome to uncross the legs and stack the knees for a more traditional spinal twist. I like this little variation here. It gets a little bit more into the hips for me, a little less into the spine, but a little more into the hips, which for many people tend to be tight. Let's take one more full breath here. Good. Let's gently untwist. Let's uncross the legs. So we're kind of back where we started with bent legs, soles of the feet to the earth. If you want to take that windshield wiper motion again, you can. Just dropping the knees gently side to side, loosening up the lower back. And we get to move through those same poses for the second side of our body. So this time we're just going to start by hugging the left knee into the chest. You can interlace the hands on top of that left knee. Give it a nice little squeeze. And even though we know where we're going, we're going to try not to rush it. We're going to take our time, especially while we warm up in our practice, so we're ready for some of those bigger postures a little bit later. Good. Maybe point and flex the toes and roll out the ankle if you did so on the first side. And you'll have the opportunity to do that again as we start to straighten the left leg, interlacing the hands behind the leg. Again, pointing and flexing the toe, rolling out the ankle, finding a nice comfortable spot for you to interlace those hands somewhere in the back of that left leg. As you draw that leg a little bit closer into the body, make sure you're not holding your breath here. Good. So again, that gentle bend in that left knee is fine. No need to lock anything out. We're just waking up and warming up the body. Let's take one more full breath here in this little hamstring stretch. Good. And then we're going to cross that left ankle on top of the right knee. Really trying to open that left knee so you can use the hand gently to push it open, getting that knee more in line with the ankle. And again, all these options and variations. So just by bringing the right heel a little bit closer to the sits bones, we'll get a little bit of a deeper stretch on this left hip. And if you're feeling a nice stretch here, you know you can stay right here. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay, but you have some options. If you want to take it a little bit further, you can bring the right foot off the earth, interlace the hands behind the right hamstring. This can happen with shoulders up or lowered. Good, so as you draw that right leg in, it's going to force that left leg in as well, which will open that hip. Good. And again, you could stay here. If you took that final variation by straightening the right leg and lifting the shoulders, you're welcome to come into that now. Again, if this does not serve you, don't take it. Right? You're home. No one knows what you're doing, so just listen to your body and do what feels good for you. And sometimes that changes from day to day. Good. If you're in this final variation, let's take one more breath. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. Good. And slowly we'll start to lower out of this. So if your right foot's lifted, bringing it back to the earth. Releasing any hand variation you have, bringing the arms out wide to a T, keeping the cross of the legs if you did so on the first side. And then gently dropping the knees over to the right. So the sole of the left foot's coming closer to the earth. It might not get all the way there. And you can gently gaze off the left arm whether your eyes are open or closed. Good, and settle into this cross-legged spinal twist for a couple of breaths. Again, if you don't care for this variation, you can very simply uncross the left leg and just stack knees for a more traditional spinal twist. Let's take one more full breath, twisted. Good. Slowly and with control, we release out of this uncrossed legs. Let's hug both knees back into the chest, maybe in lifting the shoulders off the mat. Give yourself a nice little squeeze. And then you can gently rock forward and back the length of your mat. If it doesn't feel great, just do it once to get up. If it feels good, you can take a couple of rocks. We're all going to meet in easy seat. So cross leg at the top of our mat. Doesn't matter which leg's in front. We're not here very long. Good. And let's just start to bring some life into our shoulders. So let's take a nice deep inhale as the shoulders come up towards the ears. Get them nice and high. And on the exhale, roll them slowly down the back. Good. So yeah, one more time. Inhale, shoulders lift. Exhale, we roll them down. Good. Let's get a nice little neck stretch here by dropping the right ear toward the right shoulder. Make sure the shoulders are staying low. We don't want them up toward the ears now. Palms can be up or down on your knees, whatever feels better for you. We're going to wind up moving them in just a moment. But you should feel a nice stretch along the left side of the neck. And if this is enough, stay right here. But I'm going to give you a couple of options to go a little bit deeper with this. If you want to release that right hand, bring it across the head onto the left ear. You can gently start to bring that right ear closer to the right shoulder. Good, and maybe even release the left hand to the side and gently walk those left fingertips away from the body. Good. Let's slowly release that. We're just going to go right to the other side. So left ear to left shoulder. Trying to get all these areas where we tend to hold a lot of tension in our bodies, and the neck is certainly one of them. Good. So again, start left ear to left shoulder. You can bring that left hand across to that right ear just to gently draw the ear closer to the shoulder. And maybe the right fingertips down by the side, gently walking away from the body. Take everything nice and slowly. Don't force anything. If anything does not feel good, don't do it. It's that simple, right? Good. And then gently release that. And we're going to just come over the legs onto all fours, finding a tabletop pose. So in tabletop, we just want to check our alignment to make sure our wrists are in a straight line down from our shoulders. Our knees are about in our hips with distance apart. Straight line down from the hips. We'll start with our toes untucked. Good. Suck in the belly. We're going to move through some cat-cow, so we're going to move, get some movement into the spine. So as you inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze, tilt the hips, maybe even tuck the toes. Good. On your next exhale breath, untuck the toes, press through the palms as your spine rounds high to the sky and your gaze comes inward. Good. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, tuck the toes. Good. Exhale, spine rounds nice and high to the sky, pressing through those palms, gaze comes inward. Okay. And then we'll meet back in that neutral spine. Again, to the shoulders a little bit here. So next inhale breath, bring your right arm up high to the sky. Good. And on your exhale breath, you're going to thread the needle by bringing that right hand between the left hand and the left knee, coming onto the right shoulder, palms facing up. So right cheek and right shoulder are down on the mat. Feel a nice little stretch in that right shoulder. And as always, you can stay right here, but I'm going to give you a couple of options to take it just a little bit further. If you'd like to, you can walk your left hand to the top left corner of your mat. And if you'd like to invite in just a little bit of balance for a breath or two, if that's something you're working on, you can even extend that left leg just hip height, flex that foot for just a breath or two. Good. Really engage the core here to help with your balance if you took this variation. Good. Don't hold the breath. If your leg is lifted, bring that left knee back down to meet the right. If you walk the hand forward, bring the palm underneath that left shoulder. You're going to press through that hand, lift the top body, right arm comes up back high to the sky, and don't lower. We're going to stay right here. We're going to find a modified side plank. So those left toes are just going to come out to the side slightly like a little kickstand as you stack hips and shoulders and you extend that right leg to the back. I'm going to change my view. If you need a visual, you can take a look up here. We're in a modified side plank. Good, and from here you have the option, again, you can lift that right leg, you can drop that right arm to frame out the ear, but you're on your left knee, left hand, and your left toes are down. Good. If your leg is lifted, let's bring those right toes back to the earth. We're actually going to press through the left palm to lift the top body. This is our gate pose. We're going to take a nice little side body stretch here. So right hand's going to come down the right leg as the left arm frames out the ear, and we gently walk those fingertips down the leg. Let's get a nice side body stretch along the left side of the body. Good. Make sure you're not holding your breath here. Good. And then we'll gently start to cartwheel the arms back down into our tabletop. Good. Let's take one cat-cow here. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, round the spine. Gaze comes inward just to kind of reset. We'll meet back in that neutral spine. Inhale, breath brings the left arm this time up high to the sky. And our exhale brings us back down, left hand between right hand and right knee, coming onto the left cheek and the left shoulder. Good. Knowing you can stay here, but if you took some of those other options on the first side, you can try them again here. So you can start by walking the right hand to the top right corner of the mat. And if you took that balance option, this time the right leg will lift and straighten just hip height behind you, flexing that foot so the hip flexor's facing your mat. Good. Don't hold your breath here. Make sure you're getting a little bit of gentle pressure on that left shoulder. That's where we want our stretch. If you have shoulder issues, maybe take this very lightly. If that leg is lifted, bring that right knee back down to meet the left. Bring that right hand underneath the right shoulder so we can press through that hand to lift the top body. Left arm peels up high to the sky. And again, finding that modified side plank, right toes out to the side, just like a little kickstand. And then we're going to stack hips and shoulders so we're in this modified side plank. Weight is on the right hand, right knee, and both toes are down to start. I should say both toes on both feet are down to start. I'm going to change my view for you once more. And you can stay right here. If you'd like to lift the left foot off the earth, you can. If you want to drop that left arm over the left ear, you can do that as well. Lots of options as always, so take what is good for you. Good. And then you can drop the toes. We're going to press through that right hand to lift the top body, arms to a T. And we'll take that left hand down the left leg, right arm frames out the right ear for that side body stretch. So this time we're getting a nice stretch along the right shoulder, the right rib cage, maybe even down into the hips a little bit. You might feel this. Good. And then we're just going to cartwheel the arms out of this back into our tabletop pose. Once you get there, let's tuck the toes. And we're going to start to lift the hips and lower the heels to find our first downward facing dog. Good. Since it's our first time here, let's check in. Make sure the fingertips are nice and spread. Make sure you're lifting the hips as you lower the heels. It's okay if the heels don't touch the earth. They might get there eventually. They might not. Think about melting the chest back towards your thighs. Your head should be in line with your spine. So make sure you're not craning your neck. And maybe pedal out the feet here a little bit. Get a nice little calf stretch. Some ankle mobility. Good. If you want to check your alignment, the best way to do that is to roll out to the plank, which is the top of a push-up. Make any adjustments you need to. And then lift the hips, lower the heels. You should be in your perfectly aligned downward facing dog. Good. And let's take a nice slow walk. We're going to take a walk with the feet to meet the hands at the top of our mat, meeting in a forward fold. Good. So we're letting gravity do the work. We're letting the top body hang heavy. Both feet are fully connected. Think about lifting the hips so you can elongate through the back of the legs. Good. On our next inhale breath, let's take a halfway lift. So hands come to the shins. We come to a flat back, create a little bit of space. And on your exhale, fold a little bit deeper. Each time you're here should get a little more accessible, a little more comfortable. Good. Next inhale breath, we're going to take a nice slow rise all the way to stand. Nice and slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, the arms come out and overhead for our upward salute, maybe a gentle back bend. Exhale, part the hands, swan dive back into your forward fold. We're going to take a big step with the left foot. So weight comes into the right foot. We're going to step back with the left foot into our low lunge. So nice deep bend in the right leg, high on the left toes. This would be a great place if you have blocks, or you could keep your peace fingers connected. Good, we're early on, so let's just worry about getting our alignment here. Good, and we're going to take a nice little twist here if you'd like to. Again, always optional. So plant that left hand inside of that right foot as we peel the right arm up high to the sky. This is our easy twist, not so easy. Shoulders stacked. Again, you have the option to stay here for another breath or two. If you'd like to come into a true side plank, you can roll to the outer edge of the left foot as you stack the right leg on top of the left. Again, you can take a couple breaths here in side plank, or what we call in yoga, Urdhva. Any variation here. Good. Whether you're in this side plank or you're still in easy twist, we're going to bring both hands down. We're going to make our way back to a traditional plank. And then we're going to lift the hips, finding downward facing dog. Good. Once you're in downward facing dog, take that nice slow walk to the top of the mat once more. Good. We're in our forward fold. Good. See how it feels compared to the last time. Hopefully it feels a little bit more available to you. Next inhale breath, we'll take that halfway lift once more. So flat back, shine your heart. Exhale breath brings you back down into your fold. Inhale breath, slow rise to stand. Arms out and up. This is our upward salute. This is part of a sun salutation. And then exhale breath, part the hands, swan dive back into your forward fold. Good. This time we're going to take that big step back with the right foot to find a low lunge. So again, left foot is fully connected. You're high on the right toes. Nice deep bend with that left leg. Shoulders and hips square. You can keep your hands connected. You can come to blocks. You can even hover for a moment by really engaging the core and the inner thighs. Good. Wherever you are, we're going to prepare to take that easy twist. So right hand plants inside of the left foot. Left hand peels up high to the sky. Good. Take your twist from the core. Good. Knowing you have the option to stay right here. If you took that side plank option on the first side, you're going to roll to the outer edge of the right foot as the left leg stacks on top of the right. Good. Make sure the hips are lifted. Taking any variation of a side plank for just a breath or two. Really start to activate the core, the obliques in particular with the side plank. And whether you're in side plank or easy twist, we're going to untwist, bring both hands back, meet in our plank pose. Lift the hips as we lower the heels back into downward facing dog. Good. We're going to find a three-legged dog. So right leg's going to lift high to the sky. We're going to pick up the pace a little bit here. Hopefully the body is warm and ready. Good. So as you start to roll forward into the plank, knee comes into the nose. And then we're going to step that right foot between the hands, coming right back to our low lunge where we were, but really just as a transition. We're going to drop that left knee, untuck the left toes. Let's interlace the hands on top of that right knee. And we're going to slowly shift forward and down for our crescent lunge. The goal is to get a nice stretch on this left hip flexor. So settle in here for just a couple of breaths. Keep your shoulders and hips square to the front. Good. Feel free to make any adjustments you need to with that right foot or even the left knee going back. Just make sure you're feeling that stretch here along the front of the left hip. Just settle in for another breath or two. And we're going to take a nice simple transition into a runner stretch or a half lunge. So what we're going to do is release the hand grip to frame out the right foot. We're going to straighten the right leg, flex the toes back toward the face, keep your hip on the left side away from the heel so you're not leaning back, and you're gently folding forward over that right leg. Your left toes can stay untucked here. Some people like to tuck them for a little extra support. It's completely up to you what feels better for you. Good. And again, leading with your heart in a flat back, just gently folding over that right leg, getting another stretch in the back of the leg into our hamstring muscles. Good. Don't hold your breath here. Let's take one more full breath. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. Good. Let's plant the sole of the right foot. Let's tuck the left toes. We're back in our low lunge again as a transition. We're going to drop that left foot on a 45 so it's facing the top left corner of the mat. And we're slowly going to lift the top body, finding a warrior one. Good. Make sure that the shoulders are square. Pinky spiral in. Nice deep bend on that right leg. Let's take a nice deep inhale breath. And on the exhale, we're going to slice open the arms, turn the side body, so we're facing the side wall now into our warrior two. So toes are facing the side wall, right toes are facing forward, gazing off that right middle finger. Shoulders are not up, they're not down, they're just neutral in line with the body. See if you can get a little bit deeper on that right leg. Good. Make sure that tailbone's tucked. Take one more breath. And then we're going to switch it up slightly by bringing the right forearm to the top of the right thigh. Left arm extends up overhead. This is our modified extended side angle. Your gaze can be up at the left hand or down toward the right foot, depending on what feels better for your neck. Good. We're going to keep this bend for just another few breaths, and you'll get a little bit of relief. But we're going to try, if it doesn't work, you can stay here, to take the full variation. And I'm going to bring a block over just to show you how that would work. A full variation, that elbow's going to come inside the knee, the palm's going to come inside the foot. If that's too much for you, you can always come to a block, or you can bring the hand to the foot. This is our full variation of our extended side angle, and we're only here for one more breath. And then we're going to straighten that right leg for triangle. Feel free to bump up the left foot a little bit if you need to. Again, another great place for your block. Help keep the shoulders stacked, everything straight, straight legs. Good. And then we're going to very gently, keeping the base as it is, we're going to lift the top body. We're going to take a peaceful triangle. So left hand down the left leg, right arm frames out the right ear. Nice stretch all the way from the right fingertips to the right toes along the side body. Good. Should feel nice to have straight legs after bent legs for a few breaths. And then we're going to cartwheel the hands back down into our low lunge. Hands frame out the foot to step back to your plank. Now you can hold this plank. You can go to down dog if you're looking for some real movement, throw in some push-ups. If you want to flow with me, take a nice inhale breath to prepare. On the exhale, with arms nice and close to the body, lower halfway. Then inhale, lower the legs, spread the feet, lift the top body for high cobra or low cobra or upward facing dog. Then rolling over the toes, meeting back in downward facing dog. Good. Once you're settled back in your downward facing dog, left leg's gonna lift. Doesn't matter how high it comes. We're in our three-legged dog. Good, knee comes in toward the nose, that angry cat back. We hover on the right toes, and then we step the left foot between the hands, finding our low lunge. Good, nice deep bend in the left leg, high on the right toes. Like I said before, we're only here as a transition. We're gonna drop that right knee, untuck the toes, interlace those hands on top of the left knee as you gently sink forward and down. Good, this is our crescent lunge. We're getting a nice stretch on the right hip flexor. Good, takes a breath. Sole of the left foot should be completely connected. Feel free to adjust the left foot or the right knee back if you need to intensify this stretch here. But again, hip flexors are an area that we tend to hold a lot of tightness, a lot of tension and stress, so we're trying to release a little bit of that here. Let's take one more full breath. Good, then release your hand grip, frame out the left foot. We're going to straighten out the left leg coming onto the heel. Toes are going to flex back toward the face. Right hip is away from that right heel. Again, feel free to tuck or untuck those right toes, whatever feels better for you, as you gently fold forward over that left leg. This is our half split or our runner stretch. Nice deep stretch in the back of the left leg. The closer you draw the foot toward the face, the more intensely you'll feel this in the back of the leg. Just settle in, let the breath help you kind of settle into this pose. Good. Let's take two more full breaths. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Good. We're going to bring the sole of the left foot back to the earth. Tuck the right toes so we can lift back into that low lunge. We're going to plant the right toes on a 45-degree angle so they're facing the top right corner of our mat. Keep that bend in the left leg as the arms lift straight overhead for our warrior one. Pinky spiral in, shoulders away from the ears. Deep bend in that left leg. Good. Try to keep those shoulders square. I can tell mine want to open here. I'm really trying to keep them square toward the front. Good. Let's take a nice inhale breath. And on the exhale, slice it open to warrior two. So right toes facing the side, left toes facing forward. Left arm in front, right arm behind you, settling into that left leg. Make sure it's not tracking in, it's straight forward, maybe even slightly open as you gaze off that middle finger. Good. See if you get a little bit deeper for just one more breath. And then we're going to plant that left forearm to the top of the left thigh as we stack shoulders. Right arm extends up high to the sky for our extended side angle. Good. Don't lose that deep bend. I know that leg is burning. I feel it too. And knowing you could stay here, but we're going to try, with or without a block, doesn't really matter, to find the full variation, which would be to lower that left hand inside of that left foot. It can be a lot, so feel free to use a block or some other prop just to bring the earth a little bit closer to you. We're only here for one more breath. And then we are going to straighten that left leg. Bump up the right foot a little bit if you need to for our triangle pose, Trikonasana. So legs are straight, shoulders are stacked. Good. One full breath here in our triangle pose. And then keeping the legs exactly as they are with the breath, we're going to start to lift the top body. Right arm comes down the right leg, left arm frames out the ear for our peaceful triangle, our big side body stretch. Walk those fingertips down the legs, see how you feel. Good, then slowly starting to come out of this by cartwheeling the arms back down to frame out the foot into our low lunge. Stepping back to our high plank, knowing you can hold it, you can go right back to downward dog, or you can flow by lowering halfway, finding the back bend of choice. I prefer high cobra, should be familiar to you from our gym workouts, and then back into downward facing dog. If you need to take a sip of water, a quick break, you can. We have one more short standing sequence, and then we're going to start to bring it down after that. Good. Let's bring that right leg up high to the sky. Let's bend the knee, open the hip, move that leg around. And then we're going to square out the hips. We're going to take a big step with that right foot to the outside of the right hand, finding a lizard lunge. So in lizard, our right foot and our hands are in a line. We're high on the left toes. And let's take a couple of gentle rocks forward and back. This is good for the calf and the ankle. It's a really good hip flexor stretch on the left side and an outer hip stretch on the right side. Good, so take a couple of breaths here. Good, we're not going to lower that knee. We're not here too long. And then we're going to take a big step with that left foot to the outside of the left hand. We're in this wide-legged forward fold only for a moment. And then we're going to very slowly rise to stand. I'm going to back up a little bit just so you can see me. Good. So bring your weight into your right foot. We're going to bring the left knee into the chest. We're going to just do a little bit of balance here. I like to start with my hands at prayer to help, press them together at the midline. Flex the left foot. Find a dristi, something that's really small that you can look at that's not moving to help with your balance. Good. And then we're going to cross that left ankle on top of the right knee. And see if you can sink in a little bit here. So open that left knee, bend that right leg, kind of like we did in our warm-up here, except now we are balanced, which certainly makes it a little more challenging. Good, breathe. Find your dristi. If you wobble or fall out of it, you get right back up and into it, just like life, right? Let's take one more full breath. Good, staying on that right foot, let's draw that left knee back into the chest, and then we're going to kick it back as we lean the top body forward into our warrior three, which you can take balanced here, or you can absolutely bring the hands down to peace fingers or to blocks. Go wherever you are. Let's take 2 breaths. And then we'll take a big step back with that left foot into our low lunge. Plant the hands. Let's step back to plank. And then let's just go right back to downward facing dog. Let's lift our left leg for three-legged dog. Okay, let's bend the knee, open that hip here, so stacking hips, maybe bring some movement into that leg. And square off the hips as you step that left foot this time to the outside of the left hand for that lizard lunge. Hopefully we're nice and warm for this. Both hands and the left foot in straight line across the top of the mat, high on the right toes. Take a couple of gentle rocks forward and back. It's our lizard lunge. Got a nice deep hip stretch in different spots on both sides. Good. Let's take one more full breath here. And then we're going to prepare to step that right foot to the outside of the right hand for that wide-legged forward fold. Hang heavy for just a moment. And then very slowly, one vertebrae at a time, we come to stand. Good. This time, we're going to bring the right knee into the chest. I'm going to step back. I'm going to bring the weight into my left foot. I like to start with the toes connected. Again, hands at the midline, pressing toward one another. Find your drishti. I'm staring at a spot really, really small on my screen right now. Good. I'm going to bring that right knee into the chest. Flex the right foot. Find your balance. Find your breath. And then right ankle crosses on top of that left knee. And then you sit into this half chair. So opening that right knee to the side, bending the left knee. Get a little bit of strength, a little bit of stretch here, a little bit of balance. Good. Don't hold your breath. See if you can sink a little bit lower and open that knee a little bit more for just another breath or two. Feel those little muscles in that left ankle start to kind of activate, right? Mine are wobbling a little bit. Balance is certainly something we don't work on nearly enough, but it's so important. Okay, let's take our final breath here, slow and with control. As you bring the right knee back into the chest, start to straighten the left leg. Good. And then we're going to step that right foot back, hip height, warrior three. You can keep the hands here at heart center. You can take any other variation, or you can lower them to blocks or to the earth. Good. Wherever you are, let's take one more full breath. And then we are going to step back to the low lunge. Get a little relief there. Step back to your high plank pose. And from here, let's just slowly with control lower all the way to our bellies. Good. Take a breath. Take a sip if you need to. Let's actually take a child's pose together. So in child's pose, let's bring our knees out wide on our mat, toes to touch toward the back, and then start to sit your sits bones back towards your heels as you walk the hands forward, maybe lowering the chest or forehead to the mat. Good. Settle in here for a breath or two. It's a nice gentle hip opener, nice stretch through the shoulders and the upper body. Much deserved rest after that hard work we just put in. And I'm going to give you another option here. See how it feels for you. It's a nice big stretch through the shoulders and the triceps, the back part of the upper arm. If you want to bring your hands to prayer, keeping the forehead to the mat, I just have mine lifted so you can hear me. And then you can drop those prayer hands at the back of your neck. And then once you're here, you can start to gently walk the elbows forward. You should feel a nice stretch in the shoulders and the triceps. Good. Just settle in for a few breaths. If you don't like the arm variation, you can release it at any point. Let's take one more full breath here in our child's pose. Good. Let's start to straighten out the legs behind us, coming all the way onto our bellies. We're going to round out our class today with some nice grounding stretches. We're going to take a half frog. So let's start by bringing our arms to cactus, like 90-degree angles, football goal pose. Let's bring our left cheek to the mat. Good. And then we're going to bring a bend into the right leg to the side. So my toes are facing the side wall. My knee is in a straight line out from my hip. My ankle is in a straight line down from my knee. Hip flexor is close to the earth. So really think about getting that hip flexor touching or as close to the earth as you can for this gentle, really restorative hip opener. You can close your eyes and just settle in here for a couple of breaths. Really nice way to kind of ground things, come back to the breath, come back to your intention or whatever it is that you're feeling grateful for today. Really trying to keep your focus and your mind on your body and on your practice for a few more minutes. Sometimes as we start to slow down, the mind can start to wander, which is totally normal and natural. But do your best to keep it focused for the remaining few minutes of our practice today. Let's take one more full breath here. And nothing fancy. We're just going to bring that right leg back to meet the left. And then we're going to turn so we're on our right cheek this time. Arms don't move. Top body doesn't move. Once you're settling on that right cheek, and you might feel a nice gentle neck stretch here as well. You'll bring that bend into the left leg, so the knee is directly out from the hip, ankles directly down from the knee, left toes are pointing to the side. Again, really thinking about getting that left hip flexor as close to the earth as you can. And settling in for a couple of breaths here into your half frog on the left side. One of my favorite gentle grounding stretches. Taking just a few more breaths here. Make sure those right toes are untucked and relaxed. 90-degree angles with the arms, 90-degree angle with the left leg. Let's take 2 more full breaths here. And very slowly, let's start to bring the left leg back to meet the right. Good. Let's plant the palms underneath the shoulders, maybe even widen the feet to the outer edges of your mat. And let's press through those palms to find a gentle back bend here, nice high cobra. You should be nice and warm for this. We've done this, but if this doesn't serve you, you can always just lift halfway for a low cobra. But if you're in your high cobra, let's take another breath. Make sure you're nice and broad through the shoulders. Shoulders are away from the ears, pressing those hip flexors into the mat. Toes are untucked. Good. And then slowly lowering back to the mat. Good. Let's roll over onto our backs. I'm just going to turn to the side if you need a visual. Good. And I'm going to offer you a waterfall. We're going to end our practice with an inversion, which we don't often do, but it's very typical in a traditional yoga studio. But if there's anything else you'd like to take, you're welcome to. But in a waterfall, top body is completely connected, and we're just going to extend both legs, up toward the sky. Okay, they don't have to be perfectly straight. I have a little micro bend in mine. If you have a wall close by and you want to bring your legs up a wall, that's a really lovely way to end practice. You might feel your lower abs start to engage. You can make, even if you have a block, you put it underneath your lower back here. If you are not digging an inversion, and let me just tell you that inversions are really good for calming the body, calming the mind. Takes some pressure off your heart, lowers blood pressure, lowers anxiety, all these good things. But if you are not loving it, you are welcome to take any other pose your body might need today. Maybe a happy baby. Maybe you want to come into an early shavasana. Maybe you want to do a little bit of core work. Maybe you have a different inversion in your practice and you want to come into a headstand or handstand. All great options. Good, wherever you are. We're only here for a few more breaths. We're going to start to come out of this. Feel free to close your eyes. Good. If you are in waterfall with me, let's slowly start to come out of this. Let's hug the knees back into the chest. Give yourself a nice little squeeze. Good, then we're going to extend everything out long into our final resting pose. So coming full circle from where we started into Shavasana on your back. Eyes closed, taking up whatever space your body wants to take up naturally. If you need to do anything before you truly settle in with your lights or your music, you can go ahead and do that. On my playlist, perfect timing, the last song just came on, so if you're with me, you're ready to go. Let's take a nice, full, deep, cleansing breath to help us relax in this pose. So inhale through your nose, fill all the way up, hold it for just a moment at the top, and then open mouth, really let it go. Go ahead and settle in here for just a few minutes. Closing the eyes, coming back to the natural breath, keeping your focus on your body and on your breath and on your intentions or your feelings of gratitude for just a few moments out of your entire day. Giving yourself this permission to slow down. Taking just a quick scan of how you feel and seeing if there's any areas of tightness or tension that you can loosen up. Maybe even starting with the face, with the brows, your mouth, relaxing the jaw, removing the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. You're letting your shoulders just kind of melt into the mat. Palms facing up or down, whatever serves you better. Nice natural breath. See if you're holding on any tension in the hips, or if you're clenching your glute muscles, just letting that all go. Maybe the feet falling out wide. Just settle in for a few breaths here. Finding stillness can be something that's very difficult for many, especially people like you, all gym goers, many of us on the move all the time. But it's such an important part of our practice, so please try to honor it and do your best just to find some stillness for a few more moments. Allows us to reap all the benefits of our yoga practice in our final rest. And I say this pretty much every class, and I sincerely mean it. If your day will allow you to stay longer, take a few minutes. Take longer. But I know it's a busy day for many, as most days are. So if you're ready to go, let's just take one more deep breath here. And you can start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Just starting to invite some gentle movement back into the body without disturbing the peace you just created. Hopefully, right? That's the goal. Let's take a nice full body stretch. So again, bringing the legs together to touch, pointing the toes, arms extend overhead. Nice long line of energy, suck in that belly. Good. And then hugging the knees into the chest, wrapping the arms around the front of the legs. And then rolling over onto your right side, finding fetal pose. So after Shavasana, which is corpse pose, we have our position of rebirth and renewal and fresh starts. And when you're ready, there's no rush at all. Using your left hand for some support, just gently guide yourself back into a seated position. If you remember which leg you crossed in front at the beginning of class, maybe cross the opposite now to truly try to even everything out. Good. Hands can be up or down on the knees. They can even come to prayer heart center, whatever resonates with you. We're going to end class with one collective breath. Just take a nice deep inhale. Fill all the way up. Open mouth, let it go. I like to end with my hands at prayer, bowing the head toward the heart. Thank you all so much for joining me, for allowing me to be your guide. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you all so much. If you're with me live today, happy Easter. Happy last day of Passover. Hope everyone has a great day. It's supposed to be nice out. See you all.